All right. Yo, what it do? It's your boy Yellow, and I am here with my friend, my good friend, Michaell. Michael, please, welcome. First off, welcome to YTP Entertainment. It's a wonderful blessing to have you here. And please let our people know what it is that you do. All on you.
Yellow, good to see you again. What am I doing? I'm at art science. I'm actually the exact thing is a creativity awareness educator.
Awesome.
But I've always been an artist since I'm a child. I'm painting, music, everything, film, television. So I'm in all, even in arts, politics. I was. And I'm from Vienna, originally born in Vienna, in Austria, okay. Europe, and then I came here.
Awesome. I love it. So can you please give us some information about the Smart of Art? What is it about? What do you do on the Smart of Art?
It is basically the Smart of Art is when I couldn't find. When I was so upset because it saved my life because I'm neurodiverse. I was a sick child. I was neurodiverse, couldn't fit in any system. I had to repeat classes and I went with my head to the wall, tried to get through the wall, but I couldn't because I'm neurodiverse. But the neurodiversity has the other side of neurodiversity is a superpower. I can see context. I can see things that fit together that nobody can see unless I tell them, and then they can see it. Obviously, everybody can see everything, but I be aware of something, and then I tell him. And what happened was, the Smart of Art came because, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I started writing that book, I was saying, why are 97% or more of artists worldwide, not just in America or not just in China or all over the world, all exist on the poverty level. They're not starving, but that's the starving artist, what everybody says, but they are poor. And I have friends that they were awesome artists, and they slept in their cars because they didn't have the money they had to eat, and they didn't have money for rent. And they sleep in this, them, they sleep in their studios, they sleep wherever they can because, and I was thinking, oh, that is the system. I always thought that was the system. And then I found it wasn't the system. It's that artists can't have an 8 to 5 job. They're working 3 days in a row, being up all night, but they can't because they have to be ready when stuff comes in. Right. And when to bring in the music, the poems, the good stuff, and they just can't function really in a structural art environment, in a structural system environment, like an office, a cubicle. Right. And what I've found is that we perceive art as a product. But art isn't a product. As you know, you get much more out of it creating the podcast than having 100,000 people listen. You want them to listen, but it's not about, I have another person that I don't even know that likes my podcast. That's great. It feels good. But it is not what the creation, when you say, I want to do a podcast. And now how this is gonna Yellow, how I'm gonna do a podcast, Right. Michael does it different, but how does Yellow do it? And so you have a conversation with your non-physical because you get that inspiration out from, I hit you in the head and say, do this, so you get the inspiration that I want to do a podcast. You can say, I want to do a baseball team. You know what I mean? Whatever comes in you, and then you explore that. And everybody has a different. There's 8 billion people, and they all have different ideas. And we just start creating. And I found that what we look at it, what the systems and society looks at, art is just the product. You know, and if the product is good, if Beyonce is good, then Beyonce is good. If Beyonce is bad, then everybody says Beyonce is bad. It's always dependent on others. Well, when you create, it's all dependent on you. And no matter if you're good one day, say Yellow's podcast is the best or Yellow's podcast is the worst, nobody can take away that you created the podcast. See, the judgment is easy, you know? It's saying, it's like gender. Oh, she's a woman. She's a different color than I am. That is easy to say, right. But you can't take away that she's a human being. You can't take away that you created that.
Exactly.
And I think that's where I started finding I need to separate the product from the creation, and all the power is actually in the creation.
Yeah, definitely. So how did you learn about the percentages of artists who are
over and over? I mean, when you look in, it says, we're artists. And actually it's funny that they say artists were the last people that will be replaced by machines. But it seems now with the AI, I'm not worried about it, because AI it's like, it's a copy. Yeah. It's not a unique, every of the 8 billion people, everybody is unique. And the more you know about your uniqueness, the better you'll be an artist,
That is true.
But I saw it over and over. I saw it between 95 was the lowest percent and 99%. Jerry Saltz, the New York art critic, just said it's 99% of artists are poor. Only 1% makes it. The people that you hear is 1%.
Wow. So I wonder, how does that 1% maintain the industry? Because the industry is so big, that's kind of hard to have 1% of the artists maintain an entire industry of art.
That's not maintain. Then they make it. Oh, misunderstanding. They're making some money. I sold $11,000 paintings. Awesome. But yeah, I did that 5 years ago. I couldn't do that now. Not because I'm just saying, we all contribute. We all contribute, but we're living just about the poverty. I mean, so many people live into the arts, to the art products that we have, music, music, paintings, blah, blah, blah. But we are not the percentages that 1% are wealthy, meaning that's what you hear from, like Jeff Koons, Damien Hirst, Keith Haring, all these people, artists that you hear from them. And those are only 1% of artists. Those are not the 99% of artists that just make it. Yeah. And so we all contribute, but you hear only from the one, and falsely you believe that this guy, because everybody knows his name, he should be rich. And how often have you seen that? Should be rich, and then you hear he has to do all kinds of bullshit stuff, right? All of a sudden you see him doing commercials about, why is this guy doing it? I thought this guy's the king.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable. It is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So how long have you been into your form of art, and is there anyone similar?
I'm like I said, I started, we had a yard, and I started to do tree houses and created them and painted them and do stuff with them. And then I sold mixtapes out of my trunk. Then I was a DJ. Then I was a fashion show producer. Then I was in the advertising. So I saw with 30, I didn't, I just did that because it made fun and made me feel productive and thing. And then what happens was that with 30, I needed to get a new job, and I looked at all my resume and it said everything is creative. And that was a very empowering moment. And I want to tell that to your audience, because I saw that all I did and everything that line that went through was art creation. That was the whole thing. And then I said, I don't need to actually ask for you to call me an artist.
Yes.
Artist is something you are.
Yes.
You are an artist. It's not dependent on how much you sell, how famous you are. Yeah. It is that you can do another thing. You have to do art. Yeah. Because it feels right. It's not, you feel right. Yale feels right creating art. Michael feels right creating art. Yes. And in my case, I couldn't, I couldn't even pretend to do something else because I couldn't. Yeah, I tried it and I couldn't.
Anything else wouldn't make sense.
And that's where I think I can do 5 chords. It just I could hand, my neurodiversity, hand and eye coordination. But then I went to percussion. A friend of mine, we went to a gig, and my friend said, "Hey, the percussionist got sick. Can you do percussion?" I said, "I can do it. It's easy. It looks easy." But for me, it was kind of easy. Mm-hmm. And then from on, then it's thinking, and then I went. What happened?
It's back to us now. Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, it happens. It's no problem. So let me say where was I? Yeah. So after I realized I was an artist, I gave it a different attention. Mm-hmm. And because it was a part of me, who is Michael, right? Not somebody that learned to be an accountant, not somebody that learned to be a venture capitalist. I'm an artist. And people say, "Oh," I said, I did a lot of things, but I wasn't successful. And I think that's hard to do. That's hard to take. When you're an artist, when you get that awareness that you're an artist, it was hard to say, I am an artist, but I'm not successful in systems. I'm not selling million platinum records. I'm not selling paintings for $100,000. Yeah. And I think that is hard for all artists because it's the system shaming. Basically, you can't fit in. So what that's why they say art is a hobby. You know what I mean? That's why they say art, but art isn't a hobby because you are a better human for recognizing that you're an artist. Yes. When you know that you're an artist, you're just not a better human, a real human. I think so often we become system humans, what the system says. Yeah. The system says you and I shouldn't even talk because we're different races, right? I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? You know what? We all are human. But who created racism? All systems. Yes. Who created gender? Who created, woman and man? Yeah. It's all systems. We all humans. And if we cannot wrap our head around it, we have to try. And in art community, it doesn't matter if you're gay, another color, if you're different sex, if you're different gender. It doesn't matter. It's like, we got to do this. We have a orchestra and we all have to play. Yes. See, in a company, you don't have that. In a company, you can just exchange people, Yeah.
We see art. We don't see all that other stuff. When we looking at artists, we're looking at someone who is doing something a little bit different from what we're doing, and they're being just as creative. That's what we see. We don't see you're this color, you came from this place. We don't see things. We may ask about it, just to have general knowledge, but that's not the focal point. The focal point is you have an art, and I'm interested in your art just as well as I'm interested in mine. That's the
Yeah.
focal point. So it definitely makes a difference, how we see people. And it'll be important if the world could actually see everybody that way, see a person for what they
Yeah.
do and not for the color of their skin, not for um, saying that somebody's trying to do something bad to you or anything like that, but see this person for who they really are
Yeah.
versus looking at the negativity. The
Yeah.
negativity come, it may not come, but why focus on that when there's so many other things to focus on?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. But I think we're waking up. I think we're waking up. We see all these systems break down.
Yes.
And we need to change systems to be human adapt. Till now, we adapted to systems. We say, okay, there's this, and then because of that categorization of a human, okay, they are Jews, they need to get in concentration camps. They are blacks, they need to go into slavery. It's all systematic. It's not like a human said that, we go into war right now. That war in Europe, it is insane. We just submit to systems. We not say, hey, stop it, systems.
Yes.
We are all human.
Yes.
We are all, nobody wants war. Nobody wants to hurt other people. We just want to get along, have good fun, and create. That's what we want.
That's exactly.
And become wise and because in every subcategorization, there's a lot for me to learn from Black culture or from Asian culture or from another culture, and to learn and be aware of it, not to say I'm appropriating. And then the system says, no, everything is exchanged in culture. You know that everything, everybody takes from and everybody's inspired by other things. Otherwise, I couldn't have played one rhythm because that's not from white people. You know what I mean? It's just, so the system says, oh, you appropriate from Black people, from Asian people, you appropriate this, and that's not okay. There was a big issue with a white singer had dreadlocks. I said, who cares? Who cares? It's like, let them, and even if they, it's just, we're all human. And we all exchange. The culture doesn't cost anything. We exchange our expressions to make better expression. That's the human potential to make. That's why creation is so powerful. Because you take stuff from me, I take stuff from you without paying, and we creating. I'm not stealing your style. I'm implement them in my work, and you implement it in your work, and then we take both, take Asian and put Asian in our work, and then we take this in our work, Icelandic, learn and expand and see how wonderful this world is. Right?
Yes, indeed. And this is a beautiful place, and it can be an even better place as long as we continue to
absolutely,
and as long as we continue to make sure that we're doing our part as artists by continuing our creativity, continuing the mental influence that our creativity has on other people, because we're looking at it in a positive light, and we want to continue that positivity on for generations after generations. And because it became a custom for us, it is possible for it to become a custom for somebody else as well. So I think that is important in continuing to spread the love to other people as well as other artists, all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are, just as long as it's all over the world. So I was reading something. Can you tell me about Mr. Robert Evans? What type of, I know he says produce with Robert Evans, what type of work did you do?
I did a documentary with Robert, and he came. So this is a great example. I was at a television fair, and I wasn't famous. I wasn't and he must have seen some art of mine or something that I created. And he said, he sent his assistant or something, and he said, when you that was outside of America, and he said, when you come back to LA, could you call Mr. Evans? I didn't even know who he was. Just to, you know, I had no clue who he was. And I was thinking it's a joke. Yeah. And then I asked my friends, and everybody knew him because I was in television. Everybody knew him. And they said, oh, he's Evans. And then I thought, that must be a joke. Somebody's doing a joke with me, you know? And then when I called him, then I could, you know, he invited me, and we became good friends, and we created that, and it was really a human. It was a human relationship. It wasn't about oh, because you have done so many films, because you have done this.
Right.
No, he said, I want to see you, and this was completely on the personal. I mean, he asked me to go and score some shit for his documentary. He said, you know, let's go, and I'm thinking, let's do it. And he has never heard me play on it, but he just said, do it. And I did it, and it worked out great. But I'm saying this is how the world evolves. But we think, oh, you gotta study, you gotta do this, you gotta do. I have no education, zero. And I wrote 5 books, was an arts commissioner of Newport Beach, worked with, you know, co-produced with Robert, and did 100,000 other things, you know. It's basically, we believe it's all systemic, but really it's all buddies. You become buddy with somebody, or you put your son into something. Yeah, but basically it's all the human connection is it, you know.
So what 5 books did you write, and what are they about?
Oh, my books, I wrote, the first one was actually a screenplay that was in pre-production before it got actually, I wrote this a long time ago, and I wrote it because while I was working with Robert, I wrote it, and it was during that time, I was very influenced by movie industry and by stories. I had to read a lot of stories for him too. So for me, but he gave me a lot of scripts to read. And I wrote, I said, I can do as good, and I think that I want to do it. And it's called Dangerous Blood, and I did it. And then I published it. So I was laying around, and I pitched it somewhere. I couldn't do anything. And this is also something your listeners should know. Because it doesn't work out right now, it might not, like 10 years, 15 years later, you know. So first I wrote it. I pushed it, and nobody said, it's good, but we don't have, you know, there's so many good scripts. I mean, it's like you know, using poetry or using music. There's so much out there, and the people that create, because they're focusing on the product, think everybody, there's no scripts out there, there's no poems out there, there's nothing out there. But it is. And if they have already a catalog that they want to sell, and they think your product fits them or not, they select by that, whatever makes them the best. So I couldn't sell it. And then I let it lay, and then I said, you know, it's so great. And for something, it drove me back to rewrite it. And I published it on Amazon, self-published it. Then it didn't do anything either. But then Robert asked me something, and he asked, we kept be friends, you know, we created that 20 years ago, but we stayed friends. So we were talking, and said, you know, pitch me that again, because he read it before and didn't take it. He said, pitch me that again. So I pitched him that, and it was before he passed, and it was in pre-production at Paramount already. And then he passed away. But
sorry to hear that.
That shows, but in the whole thing, you see, there's a human connect for everyone. That story might not help me sell the script, but might other people sell the script. It's not, and also don't look that you write that script. Keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. If you have a feeling, don't focus on being a writer, because I didn't. I wrote screenplays, but right now I'm writing books. That's more interesting to me. where the passion leads you, where you need to go. I might do music. I did a CD. I might do music again, you know? So go where art is like a god. Art creation is like a god. When you start interacting with it, you're happy, you're in the moment, you have a self-esteem because you're creating stuff that came out from nowhere. You bring it into physical, and so on and so on. So listen to that voice. Don't worry about what happened. It will happen when it happened, you know?
Yes, that's true.
And at least you're happy. At least you're happy. This you say, oh, but I wish I was Jay-Z or something. No. Jay-Z's Jay-Z, and he will tell you, that will be the first one that say, do whatever you need to do. It's not, and Rick Rubin just brought out a great, the producer. He brought out a great, it's called the Creative Act, and it's a great book. I read it, and I keep rereading it. It's like the Bible of art creation.
Okay.
And so that is something that if my book with Rick Rubin's book, they're really giving you an insight of being an artist, being an artist, and what power is in, and this interview too, what power is included in the art creation. See, art works like humans. It's not like, oh, you're gonna make that course, you get your title, and then you get paid. Right. That is not a way for art. A way for art is you create and you keep communicating with your non-conscious, with non-physical self. You keep communicating, and the clearer, and by doing that, your communication gets clear.
Yeah,
it's like when you wrote your first poem. What happened?
Oh,
and then you write more, and the more you write poem, the more you see yellow.
Yes.
The more you see you, and that is self-esteem. You know who you are. I can say, you're the worst poet. It doesn't matter. You write poetry. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's so much power in it, in creation art. It's just, I can tell everyone to just you gotta be a better human if you just create.
That's a funny analogy. I like the way you did that. So I noticed that you talked about creativity, help, dialogue, and adaptability. What brought you those three things?
Okay, so creativity, obviously, I told you already, creativity kept me alive. It kept me to belong to humans. It kept me to not judge on how much money I make, what titles I have, what position I have in systems. The second one is what we're doing here. And people, when they listen to this, they will see, because I'm preaching what I am.
Yes.
And I say the dialogue that is not about, yellow, you are wrong, I'm right. Dialogue is an interaction, a dance. Yellow and I dancing in this hour, we dance. And I adapt to you, you adapt to me. And that's why it's possible. So we wouldn't have survived slavery or Holocaust or any war if we weren't adaptable. We couldn't help each other if we weren't adaptable. So I think the first is creativity. Art creativity is the highest form, because it isn't, it's not creativity for a new iPhone. It's creativity for whatever comes in.
Right.
But creativity with that goes with creativity. Second is the human dialogue, the healthy, because in the dialogue, we become aware. I can relate to yellow can relate to me. And in that relating is an unbelievable power, because so often when systems say, oh, it's just you that don't make enough money, it's just you that is thing, or everybody is wealthy but you, or everybody is successful but you. And there's a lie other that they say, oh, because Jay-Z did that, you should do it too. That's completely wrong. Jay-Z does what Jay-Z does, and you do what I do what we are 8 billion people, and everybody's different. And then the adaptabilities that we are driven by DNA to be together, inclusive. Yeah. And we are driven to be inclusive as a human, as a social animal. And because we're inclusive, we have the ability to adapt to each other, that we can be inclusive. And in that adaptability, we find who we are. I know more about myself because I've talked to Yelo, and Yelo knows more about himself because he has talked to me. And we adapted to each other, and in that becomes awareness. It's like, if you read all the libraries, awareness is, what is awareness? Awareness is, you read all the libraries about love. If you haven't felt love, it's a waste of time to read all the books of love, you know?
Yes, indeed. That's true. If you don't know anything about it, why waste the time?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've noticed that on your podcast page, because we actually share the same company with Anchor.
Yeah.
That you have a bunch of 30-second podcasts. What inspired that idea to come up with a bunch of 30-second podcasts?
First of all, I told you I'm neurodiverse, so I couldn't do editing or whatever. I mean, I could do editing as a director, but I don't have employees that can edit something. So it's the neurodiversity. So when I fill out a form as being dyslexic, it takes me 4 times as long as anybody else.
Okay.
So that's one thing why that fell in place. But the real thing was because I said, I want to train myself to condense wisdom. I want to do it in a short way, and it helps my writing skill too. And I made the quote that is, all my podcasts are 20 seconds. I don't have any longer than 20, 30 seconds.
Okay.
And what it is, it's like seeds, it's like little seeds. You listen to that quote. It's like a Bible verse, you listen to that thing, and it helps you. You remember when you need it, and you sprout. So I'm a seeder. I seed thought. And then when people, and I trust that people that you take, for example, a wisdom that I say, and then you put your stuff to it, and makes it. And so that's how we create inclusion, and then we lift the human potential, because it's not like one person's view. And I try to be also as general as possible, where other people can say, oh, I can see this. Oh, for me in poetry, that is that. And then you write what that is for you in poetry. So when I write about painting, you say, oh, it's the same thing. I see it in music and painting often. They're very similar. Yes. And then you can, and then you can do it. Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. There's quite a bit of similarities, especially in terms of creativity. It's like those people who like to create their own songs. It's kind of transit, where we actually go into this mindset and into our world of creativity, and everything is so harmonic, and we try to put it together where we can create that balance. Once we find that balance, now we got what we actually want to put out to the audience. And when we take that, put it out there to the audience, now we're looking for the reciprocation for how our audience is going to reciprocate what we actually put out there. And once we see and get that feedback from our audience, then we can either feel that sense of accomplishment, or we can feel like there's something else that I need to work on to make this better.
Yeah, I would say, I would agree that there's a way to go, but I wouldn't rely on what I say on the audience. I would, because I tell you, I've done paintings and posts and music, whatever, and stuff that I created and I give always that same example because it's so I bought a new graphics program a while ago, and I just try to get the function of the graphics where I make ellipses, and I've colored the ellipses. I put that on the web. I had the highest views, and I never thought there will be any views on this and any likes, and I had the highest likes. So for me, it wasn't my voice. It was I did it with. Of course, it was my voice because I placed the ellipses in a certain patterning, and I painted them, and I chose the color. But really, you cannot let the audience decide ever. You can just be the best that you can be, and it resonates or it doesn't. And even if you talk, if Rick Rubin said in his own book, he said you all you need to do, because the audience doesn't know what they want. They don't know what, they're just reacting. So when you create something that is totally you, then they might react to it, but they might not, because they're not ready for it. But it might be like a poem you read might be, on second thought, they read it again. They don't even know that they heard it first. They read it again, and all of a sudden it goes deep. And they say, "Oh my God, Yale is the best poet ever." You know what I mean? This is, it just touches you on a level. And we are unconscious. We are mostly unconscious. And I love that saying that Rick says that the audience doesn't know what they want. But they know it when they hear it, but they weren't aware that they want that.
Yeah.
So,
so that's how pretty much me rephrase. That's pretty much what I was saying when I said the audience.
Okay.
Basically, it can be, and at some point it's a part of our creativity, what they say or what they say about it, what they think. It's not that we take it as an artist as a whole, that this is I'm going to go because the audience said. No, it's not about what the audience say, but we do at some point listen to what they say and how they feel and how they how their input impacts our art from another person's perspective. We listen to these things, but we just don't let that take control of who we are. We continue to be the artist that we are, irregardless of what anybody thinks or feels. And so we do hear these things. It's going to come to you, whether you want to hear it or not. It's going to come.
but there's a lot of people artists that don't listen to any feedback. They don't even listen to critics. And what I concur with Rick on that is, he says, people that want to see you being successful, listen to the critique from people. If you know that your wife or your girlfriend or a good buddy of yours really loves to see you famous, loves to be you having success, that critique I would take. Then I would consider that critique. I'm still deciding if I should take it or not, because if it lies about me. If he says, do it, use purple, and I'm not purple, then I said, as much as he says I should use purple, I'm not going to use purple. So, but listen to those people that really want to see you succeed, not to somebody you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I think it's a big mistake we do, because people are jealous. Perhaps you touch them deeply, and they say, "Oh, screw this. This is thing," and they don't want to hear the truth. Especially with your stuff, with poetry. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah, and I like to tell things about reality, real life events in my poetry. I want to tell things that they have to imagine or guess at or anything like that. I just want you to see the truth for what it is. And pretty much you take what you take from it. It is what it is. I know what I meant. I know what I wrote. And I think that my writings are pretty clear. It's just everything is up for interpretation. Whatever you interpret is what you interpret. But as long as I know where it truly came from, that counts. And as far as influencers, my wife, she will tell me, things, but she won't tell me something just for me to hear it. She looks for what's the best in me and what she sees in me, and she'll do a comparison based on what
Perfect.
she and say, hey, because I know that you're like this, then maybe you could say it this way, or maybe you can put it out that way, or maybe you can try to reach this type of audience, and I'll give it a try. And I kid you not, quite a bit of times that I've tried the things that she's successful has actually worked for me. So I incorporate that in my life as well, or into my creativity as well. Because I love poetry. There's nothing
It
gonna
fulfills you also if it fulfills you. I always look for that makes sense. You know, if you know, I've say make a poem about carburetors and you want that and it fulfills you, then make a poem about carburetors. You know what I mean? It's just even the most outside thing can be accepted. I say what I'm saying. I'm saying so on the one hand, I said so basically what I say, you got to be the idol for how much gas you want to blow into your creation. You know.
yes.
How many additives you want to use, you know, in your creation?
Yes.
I already had carburetors, but yeah, but I agree with you 100%. And see, I didn't have a discussion with other people like that, and so I learned a lot because you and I just jiving about it, and that makes me more aware. So I learn and you learn, you know, and this is everybody winner, you know.
Yes, many blessings. I definitely appreciate it. I think that's definitely rewarding for on both parts, my part and your part, especially when you can learn something from somebody. There's nothing like learning something from like-minded people, artists. We we tend to look for
in
things.
art. Nothing is absolute. In art, nothing is absolute in art.
Exactly.
And that's why artists talk to each other, which is we're an example for other people. This is how you should talk in companies, because you know a business is an extension of you, and it's a creation. And this is how you should talk. That's right. I'm telling you this, and I want this, and I want this.
Yes.
It's not that.
It's not that.
It's not that. Yeah.
I totally agree. So tell me, Michael, some people may not understand this. I do, but I would like for my audience to understand it as well.
Yeah, okay.
What is a truth compass?
A truth compass is when you pushed in a corner and you can't, and you're just about freaking out and you want to just lash out because you just, it's about survival. There's an inner knowing in you, and I call that, and you can, a lot of people take it from the Bible. That's my truth compass. A lot of people take it from any religion or any Zen Buddhism or whatever. And I say my truth compass is always humanity, because I try to go the highest truths on the physical. I don't want to go into the spiritual, because that's where I'm not am. I am in the physical. I communicate with my non-physical about my art creation, but I don't want to go on the physical plane, but we forget the nature. And that's why my direction, when I need to make a choice, when I need to say something, when I need to make a comment to something, when it's important, when people expect from me certain things, I always, and I'm uncertain because there's a feeling of ambiguity. Let's say we're talking about an issue, and I'm uncertain about that. Then I say, so race issue, perfect. So this would make me uncertain. We're talking about race issues. Why is a white guy artist with a black guy? Why the hell are they talking? What are they doing, these guys? and I go, I can 100% support that, because what is it in nature? In nature, we are all included. The zebra doesn't say, oh my God, there's a giraffe. There's an elephant. What am I going to do with it?
Exactly.
They all live in harmony with each other.
Yes.
We are just a species of nature. The eagle sees better, the dolphins swim better. I mean, we're not the best. We're just having a brain.
Yes.
And but we are a species, we forget that. When have you heard the last time saying somebody, oh, we're a species from nature? Nobody says that because we don't identify with it.
No.
And that's so crazy, but we are.
Yes.
And nobody created, no system created humans. No system said, okay, there's black people, white people, Asian people. They are different. No, nature created all. Or God, or whatever you want to believe it. We created the systems. And that's why my compass is the higher truth of what is the highest I can do on this plane. The highest, absolute highest, is nature, because we have extinguished, the humans have extinguished themselves. Mayans, all these cultures, over and over, and the dinosaurs extinguished, but the nature keeps going on. And you see how distorted we are. We want to save nature.
Yes.
Instead of saying, we want our kids and our kids' kids to also enjoy this beautiful, artistic, beautiful experience of being physical on this planet, on this beautiful planet.
Yes, indeed.
And we don't say it. So we should, if we want to exploit nature, then exploit the nature way that you don't need to use for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We think we need to save nature, and then nature will be nice to us. They give a shit. If we want to extinguish ourselves, we're dead. And I mean, look, it doesn't matter. But look what we did in China in the Olympic Games. They had to literally turn the traffic off to have the Olympic Games.
Oh my God.
This is we destroy our own habitat within nature. And that we don't protect because we don't see it. We think we're so arrogant, we think we need to save the whole nature. The whole nature, nor the earth needs saving,
No,
we need to protect and sustain the habitat that your kids or my kids can live,
Yes.
and prosper, and that their kids also can enjoy their life and not have to run around with oxygen masks.
Yes.
Or other masks for that fact.
Yeah, that's why we gotta make sure that we're helping with this green environment and not with the pollution of it. Being pollution of it. We got enough of that.
For us, the nature is the nature makes a cough, and there's no humans. Nature makes a cough, and everything is normal. It's the same as dinosaurs. We are responsible, not nature. We are responsible to protect the part of nature, because not all nature, the part of nature that gives us oxygen, clear water, warmth, energy,
Yep, definitely. I agree. I totally agree with you.
But you see how wacky the people are. Oh, we need to punish everybody that is polluting. How we need to do it? No, you need to make them aware. Then don't pollute. Once they are aware of that, they don't pollute.
It depends, because some people are hard-headed.
But they're unaware. Only, I think, awareness you can't forget. What I'm saying is, when you burn yourself on a stove, your daddy can tell you, and your mommy can tell you all about not touching the stove. They can say, you need to read this book not to touch the stove.
Right.
And you touch the stove, you don't need to read a book or anything.
Right.
You burn yourself, and you are aware that a stove can be hot, and you can burn yourself. And there's nothing you need to read, nothing to be the 3 steps or 5 steps.
Right.
You do this. You burn yourself. Oh, I'm falling in love. You falling in love. Now you can read books about it. You can, burn yourself. Not afterwards, after the fact. But first you have to be aware.
Right.
And I see in nature, when it comes to nature, we are not aware. We are not aware that we don't know anything about it, that actually all the truths are in nature. or other humans, you know, the truth, if you want to go high truth. And that's why it's a long answer, but that's why my true north, that's it. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, nature and humans, not systems. I would never do anything for a job that I get. Never, never. I mean, when you have to choose between a job and a human, you know,
Forget about
this,
it.
yeah.
Forget
I mean, but this is a good example. How many people feel guilty when their kid is sick and they have to go to the job?
about it.
Everybody feels guilty, and they shouldn't, because we created them system. This is be responsible, call the work and say, my kid is sick, I have to take it.
Yes.
But because people are not aware, they feel, oh my God, if I don't, they throw me out or whatever. And on the other side of the system, in the system should be humans that understand that.
Yeah, that's true.
That said, our team works with that when the yellow's kid is sick and he has to stay home. Not that he says it and then that goes pimping.
Exactly.
You know, he's like, if you say it, and that, hey, we are one. We are helping each other out. Humans help each other out.
Yes, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And you don't have to go to a church to learn that. What I'm saying is, this is not dependent on a religion. Are good. They say that, but you don't have to go to a religion to know this, because artists can tell you that, like we do right now, right?
Human nature.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, Mike, tell us where we can find you and your information.
MichaellM.com. Michael with 2 L's, M.com, MichaellM.com. And there's a hub, and then you can get my LinkedIn and all my social and everything.
Awesome, awesome. And what is one of the key points that you want people to be able to take away from this interview?
Awareness is trumps all. There's nothing higher than awareness. Once you're aware, like once you burn yourself on a stove, the experiential learning, once you have that, that's why often when you have a lot of jobs, you learn, like I did.
Yes.
You have a lot of experiential learning, you know,
Yeah.
because I have no education, by the way. So anybody come, oh, you're a doc? I'm not a doctor. I'm nothing. I just say what I experienced through my life.
I disagree with the no education, because experience educates us every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I agree with you, but I have no system education. I don't have Harvard or whatever, you know?
Yeah. But back in the ancient times, there was no system education either. So you on the
right. I know. That's why I have the true north, is humanity and nature.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Thank
What a beautiful talk. I love always talking to you, Yellow. Beautiful.
It's a blessing, my friend. Definitely a blessing. I just want to thank
Anytime.
you, but gotta get up out of here. Thank you so much for definitely giving me this opportunity to interview with you. You have truly, truly enlightened me and brought a blessing. Thank you so much, my friend. And
thank you. Same here.
you're always welcome to come back through. We'd love to have you here on YTP Entertainment. Peace and blessings, my friend. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Yellow.